All right, good evening. Welcome to the platform. It's the Man Had a Platter. I'm your host, Ahmadan, and today I have a very, very special guest with me by the name of Luis. But before we get into all that, I just want to kind of break things down for the people that might just be tuning in for the first time and kind of wondering what this is all about. What's my initial goal from doing this type of podcast? So basically, I've been looking at a lot of podcasts, and I really haven't seen anybody, at least on my radar. And I watch a lot of podcasts. I haven't really seen anybody that is doing anything where they go inside. They talk to different departments of the actual restaurant, people that work there. And I haven't seen them interview, the essay or the busser, aka the busser, or a bartender individually, or bartenders, just kind of going through all aspects or all departments of that bring the restaurant together, that make the restaurant that make the restaurant run, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's why I'm doing this. And at the end of it, one of the things that I do hope that people take away from it is some inside information in case you're thinking about getting into this business, because this business is tough. It's not for everybody, man. It's not for everybody, and it's even tough for me at times because there's always something new that's going to come your way. So usually what I try to do is introduce whatever department it is, and then they come in and they tell their story, and then hopefully that'll equip you or give you some more insight and understanding into what they do on the day-to-day operations and how it makes it work. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm doing it. And hopefully also, too, at the end, you take away something positive from it, but also have a good time while you're listening. So without further ado, I would like to introduce somebody that I really, really respect and hold to high regards in this field. He's no longer SA or server assistant or a busser, but he's also a food runner, also a bartender, also an awesome person. So he has a bunch of different aspects that he can add. But we're gonna focus on mostly the busser part or the server assistant part, and then we're probably gonna graduate into something else. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my boy Luis, aka Lefty. Lefty.
Yes,
So
sir. Yes, sir.
I'm happy to have you on the show. I'm super excited. Been a long time coming. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. So what made you want to get into this business just initially? Like, what made you want to get in this business?
It was kind of just the opportunity was just there. It wasn't like, oh, I want to be in the restaurant business.
Okay.
It was just there because our boy Jeremy, he's worked there for a long time. Our other job was closing down. I worked at like a Brazilian barbecue spot. Mm-hmm. And
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember when you was working there. I used to always see you on Snapchat. Be like, yo, does this guy even work, bro?
I did nothing. I did nothing for so many days.
He was always on Snapchat. I was like, man, they must not be busy. It must be nice.
It was never busy. It was only busy on barely on the weekends. But they couldn't do rent because they weren't making any money because it wasn't busy. So I asked Jerm about Roost Chris. Oh, damn. I burnt out the spot. Mm-hmm. I asked him about Roost Chris, and then, the rest was history. So it wasn't really like I wanted to get into it, but it was just like a spot to do something. But, I mean, hey, it's been 7 years at this point, so.
Okay.
Oh, wow. That I do like.
7 years in the game. So when you first started, what did you start off as? For the people who don't know you, what did you start off as in the company?
Yeah, so I got hired as a SA, a server assistant, which is a busser. Me and my friend got hired at the same time, and so I started as a server assistant. I was there for a long time, 4 years, maybe somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, during the course of your time there, did you even imagine that you would even be with the company for a long time? I mean, like, what was when you got the job, did you think it was going to be temporary, or were you like, yo, man, I'm in this for the long haul?
I don't know. I don't think I really had a thought. Like, it was kind of just like a gig, and what is that, like 23? I really have no direction. I'm just like, it's a gig, so let's just kind of write it out, see what happens. No actual plan.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. All right. Cool. How was it being an SA or a server assistant or a busser, however you classify it as? Or just so as we're going forward, if I say server assistants, that means busboy, busser. Just so we know going forward. So nobody's confused about we're not gangbanging or nothing over here, nothing like that. So just so it's clear to everybody. How has being an SA changed your life? How has it changed your life? What have you learned from it? Would you say? Did you learn anything from it? Did you take away anything from it?
I would say just like perspective, like I was technically in the restaurant business or whatever, but until like, the high end, which is like, Ruth's Chris, quote unquote, the high end restaurant, like learning people's like how people are, how certain things go, and kind of just like,
But hold on, before you even just speed past that, when you say learn how people are, learning how things go, what does that mean to you? Like, how does that look to you?
How does that look?
Like-
You know what? More learning the inside of what a restaurant person actually has to go through.
Okay, so give me some example. Give me like one or two examples. Like,
It's chaos. It's chaos. Every day's different.
Okay.
It's never the same. It could be just like you're one minute you're literally just sitting there wiping down a counter, and then the next minute you're just getting you're getting killed back
Getting
there. And
slaughtered,
there's
yeah.
so much coming in. It's a huge wave. You never know. Everyone's going on lunch. It's anything. Anything can happen. So I think that's what it is. More so just like being at a high end place where it can be that, where it's just all of a sudden your whole window is full of tickets, and 10 tables sit down, and you're taking care of 8 of those tables,
Right.
and everybody wants the same thing, and so you have to give everybody the exact same thing. But
okay, just to dive into a little deeper, what were some of your biggest challenges when you first started essaying? When you first started essaying, that what was your biggest challenges? Like maybe like a obstacle that you had to overcome, like something reoccurring. Like I'll give you an example. Like when I first started like waiting tables, one of the biggest things for me was prioritizing. Like for instance, like I'm triple sat, right? And I have, when you get, if anybody knows when you get triple sat, it's just not a good feeling ever. Never really a good feeling. So you get triple sat, and in the beginning, I didn't understand that I needed to get drinks on the table first. That was my biggest challenge. Like I was just thinking like I'll deal with one table at a time, and sometimes you got to double up and you say, okay, well I need 3 Cokes, so I need 2 martinis or whatever, and they might be going to 2 separate tables. And I've learned to prioritize. You can still, satisfy the table, at least if you get some drinks on the table, even if it's something like a glass of water. Just to get them started or things like that. So that was my biggest challenge. I had to learn how to prioritize things.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What about you?
I think that might be the best one. It's just like learning how to make your rounds count. The triple sat thing is a good one because like, you got 3 of the exact same thing to do. All right, now let's make a full swoop of like, okay, now we're going to water. We'll wrap around. We'll get bread, wrap around just like that. I think prioritizing is probably the best learning thing.
Okay.
Or is learning how to like, okay, I got 10 things to do at once. Can I do this in 2 trips? Can I make it 5 in 2 trips?
Right.
Man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
Okay.
I'd say learning how to prioritize is very.
All right. So, what's one of the things that you see people do? This is always I love asking this question. What's the one thing that you see people that do that are brand new to your position? That you can maybe it kind of lets you know that they don't have any experience, or that they do have experience, or something that you see them do that you might pull them to the side and say, because you're a person who is a coach as well, so you're a person or shift lead is what some people would call it. You're one of those people that has you train people, basically. You're a trainer. And so what's one of the things that you see that might be common in a person maybe who does or doesn't have an experience? You pick whatever you want.
You should just do like maximize what you're doing at one time. You don't have to be 10 steps ahead, 8, 5. You can be like just 1 step ahead, and that helps you. And you can see it right away. If they're just like, all right, well, you know, you need a craft and like craft of water to the table, and some bread, and then they'll just grab the bread and then just walk out and be like, okay, well, like, you know,
Okay.
just kind of not, you know.
What do you think separates you? I mean, I can tell you what I think separates you from the amount of people that I've seen come through the business, and not just in my current restaurant, but also in other restaurants. What do you think it is that makes you phenomenal at your job? One of the, I would say, top tier best. What would you say is about you that puts you in that category?
I don't know, son. I mean, I really just, I think my biggest thing is just like, this is my biggest thing there. Like, I don't want to spend a minute longer than I need to in that place. So I'm trying to just get in, make sure everything is done correctly to make my job easier. Because any little hiccup, you know, messes with your flow. And I don't like that. I want to just get in, get it done, and get out. I don't want to spend a minute longer. So I think that's what makes me better. Like, that's what makes me one of the top dogs, is I don't want to spend a minute longer than I need to.
Okay.
So I'm going to just get it done. And I'm going to get it done right, though. I guess doing it right is also a big thing for me. I try to make sure everyone has a good time, especially tables, because that place is expensive, bro. You know, you can't go there every Tuesday. I find it as like a very special, like, you come in for your birthday, come in for anniversaries, stuff like that.
Right.
It should be like a twice a year type of place, in my opinion, you know.
Right. Special occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
You know, I'm just gonna have to say, personally, I think one of the things that I would like to say, I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I'm not just talking about character as far as personalities, but also as work ethic. You know, one of the things my mother used to tell me, this will all relate. You'll see how this all relate. My mother would always tell me, she said, if you want to know how a person works, how good they work, just look at how they walk. You know what I'm saying? She said, watch them walk. And so that's one of the things that I use to judge people. Because if they walking slow and they don't have no giddy up, you know, as my mom used to say, we used to call it giddy up. If they don't have no giddy up in their step, they probably not going to be good. So one of the things I saw or that I've observed watching this young man here climbing up the ladder and just doing his thing, I think his biggest strength is his personality. I think his personality is phenomenal. I think the way that he communicates with people, the way he comes across to guests is genuine. And if you notice, most of my guests, or the guests that I've had on previously and even up to now, one of the biggest qualities I like about them is the genuineness in their character. And that's always the point I always try to drive home on this podcast, is be genuine, you know. And he has a very genuine, impressionable personality, and I think that that's what his biggest strength is. And not just that. I mean, of course he has more than one, because you can't just have one. You got to have more than one. You got to also have patience. He has patience, and he wants to be there, and he wants to make sure that he does the best job that he can do. And I think that that's where his strengths are, in my opinion.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. And you used that little laughing or that little clapping thing 7 times with Patrick. I told him, I was like, you better not use it 7 times with me. I'll give you 4 max then. There you go. That's 3.
I like going crazy on this button. I don't know what it is. It took me forever to make that sound effect.
You could tell the way you used it. No, I appreciate it. And that's just kind of like, I think that goes in life, you know, like, you can spot and you can feel a genuine person, you know, and I think that's the biggest takeaway in all restaurant, like in being in a restaurant, like just being genuine.
Right.
You can be robotic and you can kind of, you know, make sure you can do it all correctly being robotic, but you're not going to feel anything from that. Like once you leave, you kind of just be like, all right, that was cool. But I think I think you need to give that genuine, comforting, like feeling when I go out. And like I said, you're not going to go there every day. So if it's a birthday, like if they feel you're genuine with them, you know, it's gonna be a great time. And I think that's a big takeaway.
Can you give me an example of like maybe let's just say you had a customer who came in, right? and you could tell because you know how some people are. Like, and when you get them in the beginning, they could be a little weird, a little bit indifferent.
Yeah.
No matter how impressionable or how great your personality is, you know, they might have some stuff that might have been going on earlier in the day you don't know about. I mean, you don't really know, but they come in all kind of weird. Give me a scenario where somebody came in and you smoothed it out with your personality.
I mean, it happens all the time because like, so I'm a cocktail server. So what that means is like I usually take care of the tables that are in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So in the bar, you kind of get people who just kind of want to get in and out. But every now and then they can't sit in the restaurant for whatever, many reasons. Either they walked in or people are sitting longer on their reservations, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, what the bar gets that the most.
Right.
So you have to, because the initial thing is like, all right, we're going to come in, we're going to sit at this fancy table. We have the candle light, we have the calmness, the music playing in the background.
Right.
When, you kind of at the bar already, you're kind of, okay, well, we're at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you first think about when you think about a bar? You think about like, it's loud, it's kind of relaxing, like.
Yeah, I mean, when I go out, I prefer to sit at the bar.
1,000%.
For me. That's just for me, though. I know some people want to sit at a table because they're with their girl or whatever. But, even when I'm with my girl, even though I don't have one right now.
Yeah, he's talking.
Probably going to edit that out. But maybe not. We'll see.
Hey, keep it in. You can be whoever you want on here.
Any contenders, hit me up. But anyway, I go to the bar to relax. I don't know. I mean, me being at a table, I don't know. I guess because I'm in the industry, so for me, it's just like the bar. I can get my drink right away. I don't gotta wonder where my server's at. Like, are they coming?
Mm-hmm.
My drink is gonna be right there. If I'm drinking that night, and I know my food's probably gonna come right to the table. I mean, I don't have to look around for anybody because that person is right there.
Yeah, 1,000%. That's definitely a good way, and that's the thing too. People are like, oh well, as soon as they sit down, especially someone who is supposed to sit in the dining room, as soon as they sit down, I go over there, oh, like, how we doing, introduce myself, and they instantly, right away, if they say it, they go, oh yeah, well, we're supposed to sit in the dining room, right there. I'm already like, okay, I have to switch. I have to make sure that this person is just as comfortable as they can be.
Right.
I had a couple last time, way older couple. The guy actually kind of looked like you, son.
No, nobody looks like me, bro. I'm often imitated but never duplicated.
All right, definitely edit that one out. They were dressed to the nine, bro, to the nine.
Okay.
Like look, that dude had a suit on. He had a 3-layer. It was nice. He had a hat on.
Right.
The lady had a beautiful hat on. She was dressed up. She had a beautiful dress. They were supposed to sit in the dining room. We couldn't get them in there. In my opinion, they were dressed way too nice for the bar. That kind of gives you a little idea.
Okay.
They were looking so nice. The lady had brought it up right away because it was a gentleman's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, I gotta make sure I kill this. And I killed it. I was over there. I was making sure they got the drinks going, making sure she was comfortable. He was having a good time. It was his birthday, but his wife was happy, so he was happy.
Right.
I did the happy birthday plate, even though he didn't want dessert. I made sure, like, I wrote it too, because I always like to write my own little dessert plates, and I made sure, like, that's what you have to do in the bar or in cocktail tables, in my opinion, like, to make it special. So that's an example of,
right.
You gotta spice it up, because people who are coming in wanting that fancy, super fancy, high end thing, they hear bar and they instantly go negative. You gotta instantly switch it, and that's
yeah, for sure. So since you've been in your position where you're doing your you've become an SA and you made the transition into becoming a server and also AKA also a bartender. How's that switch? Like, has it changed your perspective? Because sometimes if you only do one position, you can't see everything. Like like once you like if you bus a runner, if he's never bust before, he can't understand all the way how a SA works. Or like if a SA has never been a server or a bartender, they don't really have the perspective.
Yeah.
like the all around perspective. So being that you've transitioned from one spot to the next, actually, let me just ask you this: has it changed your perspective since you made the transitions from server? I mean, from SA all the way up to bartender. Like, has that changed your perspective at all
You know, it's funny.
on the service?
I don't think it's like I don't think it changed my perspective like on a busser to a runner or like a runner to a server.
Uh-huh.
I think it's actually gone reverse to where it's like, all right, now as a runner, I understand what a busser, you know, how much responsibility they have.
Right.
And then from going up to like serving, how much responsibility like a runner has,
Right.
you know? So I think it's like it's gone backwards to where I'm like, all right, like, you know, I see if it's a solo running night and it's getting crazy, like, and the bar's getting smacked, I'll jump back there.
Right.
I'll jump back to help run. Or like if it's a Monday nights are usually pretty. It's usually a well-rounded team, but there's usually just one in each station. And so like I'll be like, okay, well, like I know I got a little bit of time. Busters, once my rush is over, now the busters rush is gonna start because now all those tables they already got their food because I already served food.
Right.
So now the tables are gonna start finishing up. So now the busters gonna get smacked. It's kind of like waves of in each section.
Okay.
So I'll jump back there and I'll be like, all right, let me make some settings. Let me do this. So I think it's changed my perspective in like the opposite direction. In like, you know, from going to runner to serving, it's pretty funny because it's like, you know, people would be like, oh, it's different, huh? Like it's different being up here, and I'm like,
It is. It is. But it isn't.
But
yeah.
you know, if you're good, I don't know. This is. You know,
Tell
I'm talking trash.
He's about to drop some knowledge and say, and you gotta understand you gotta really take in the first couple of words he just said. If you're good, so please continue with that statement.
It's just, you know, I don't know. It's if you know what you need to do, you know what needs to be done. If you took the right preparations on doing it, aka like learning what you need to learn, and I think the moving up is necessary. I think being a busser before you're a runner is necessary. I think being a runner before you're a server is necessary. As keep going, like
up the ladder.
Then you manager. I think you need to learn all those aspects because you need to learn exactly how it works out. Because it's different. You can see it, you can watch it from the outside, but being
until
in
you're
it
in,
is completely different. And I think
it's
that's
definitely completely different.
I think that's what makes, you know, when you think about like the best, you know, my list, you know, it was like Gary was, you know, started from there. Jeremy, you know, fantastic. Adam, fantastic. Ahmed, decent.
Hey, I'm the best who ever did it, son.
He's the GOAT, the greatest legend of all time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. You need to, and you've done it all too. So that's why you were the best at.
Yeah.
You liked your spot and you done it all. So you're like, you know what, this is where I am right now.
This is where I want to be.
So this is
and just to piggyback off that, when he says I've done it all, I basically done every position except for SA. I haven't done SA. I mean, I did, but I did not officially. I should say. So, and that's allowed me to see like why it's important that communication is used as much as you can when it comes to any aspect of your job. No matter what position you have, communication is a big key. You know, a lot of times I see people in this business, if I'll give you an example. Hypothetically, you know, they can't get their food out of the kitchen. You know, because you're going to have those nights where you can't get your food out. No matter what you do, you can't get your food out of the kitchen. It's just not coming out for whatever reason, you know, because the kitchen is backed up or, you know, whatever, you know. And I see a lot of times the servers, they don't even communicate to their tables. They don't even say, hey, I know your food is taking a little while tonight. You know, I promise you that if you don't see me here at your table, I'm probably in the back trying to make sure that your food comes out, but I'll be checking on you and keep you up to date. You know, little things like that. Just sometimes just communicating with your table and let them know what's going on. I see so many servers just be running from the tables like, yo, I'm out of here. It's like, yo, you can't, like you can do that, but that's going to affect the quality of service. And that's also going to affect the quality of whatever kind of tip you was anticipating on getting from that table, if even any, because you know the more things happen, the more your tip goes down, and it's you know for the most part. So it's just like, you know, I totally get it.
It's having the reverse effect too, because like you're scared to face your tables because your food isn't going out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like ultimately, like even if it was your fault, you go to the table and you
tell them.
you tell them like, look, I'm so sorry, this is going down. People that's that genuine that we're talking
exactly.
about. Like if you're gonna be if they feel that you're being oh Jesus Christ. My beautiful point on this shit. If they feel like you actually are, which like for me too, like this is me being real, but you don't have to be real if you don't want to. But if you let them know that you are just as upset as they are, that their food isn't at their table, they're gonna be like, you know what, they care too. All right, cool, and they'll give you that little extra, that extra. Breathing room.
Right. Exactly. They'll give you a little bit of forgiveness, man.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Like I just think that, people just I can never drive it home enough.
Yeah.
Just be as genuine as you can. Just be as genuine. I see some people they do the fake stuff. It is what it is, and those are always the service. You can always. I'll just give you some pointers on how you could spot somebody who's not really genuine. Instead of them talking in their regular voice, they'll kind of be singing. They'll be like, "Hey, how's everybody?" They're kind of whiny and they sing.
Yeah,
And also another thing that I think is really bad that I see, that I'm not saying the service not genuine, but I feel like you should never bow down to your tables. Like, always stand up and take control. When you bend down and you bend down to your table's level, it kind of gives a level of inconsistency. It kind of sends a subliminal message, in my opinion, that you're not in control. If you stand above your table and your stature is good, then they're gonna see that you're in control. That's just what I've learned over the years.
I like that.
Yeah. So what I also wanted to ask you, Lefty, how has working in the service industry changed your outside life?
That's a really good question, actually, just because I think it's been so long that it just feels so normal.
Yeah.
So I don't really know what it switched up because it's been,
Forever ago.
Yeah.
So,
it actually gives you a lot of breathing room. The hours we work compared to like the hours, 9 to 5.
Regular 9 to 5.
Yeah. It's definitely, financially, time wise, like it is. There's sacrifices in both ways, like for my family, it's like, oh, let's do a trip. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna do a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They'll leave early from work on Friday or something.
Right.
And the 9 out of 10 people are gonna be like, okay, that's good. And then me, I'm gonna be like, all right, hold on, let me, I have to request that off.
Right. Right.
So, but everyone's so used to it at this point. My family gives me like a little 2-week heads up because they know I have to request the days off and stuff. But it does give you a lot of time. The earliest we go in is like 3:30.
Right.
So you have a lot of time in the daytime, not in the night so much, but we're going in for 5 hours,
5-6 hours.
If you're working an 8-hour shift in a restaurant, it's like, all right, it was crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I think definitely gives you a lot of freedom.
Okay.
Then it kind of depends on your lifestyle too, if you take advantage of the freedom.
I mean, I want to dive a little bit deeper into that. I'm talking about things like, has it allowed you to take better vacations? Has it allowed you to buy nicer clothes? Has it allowed you to buy nicer things? Has it allowed you to buy more video games? Has it allowed you to buy more sports tickets? I mean, like things like that.
It has allowed me to do what I want.
Okay.
That's a good one because, like I said, I was 23 when I got this job.
Right. And by the way, he's 35 now, so yeah, he's getting up there.
Yo, I'm getting up there, son. I'm 31.
He's 31. Okay. I was just joking about that, but yeah. Okay, so he's been in the game.
We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, he's been in the game for a while.
Yeah, and when I was my jobs before this were pretty funny. Like my first job was Jamba Juice, and every 2 weeks I made like $300. And that's like, I hear that now and I'm like, what?
Nah.
But, I'm a little, I'm an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid. I'm like,
and that's still pretty good money for an 18-year-old, especially if you live at home, mom and pops or whoever you living with,
I've been able to live on my own, which is a big thing.
Right, absolutely.
I have everything I want, everything I need. So yeah, it has given me the financial freedom to kind of do whatever I want. If we want to go to a game, want to spend this amount of money, I've been blessed with being able to just be like, yeah, like let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. I like to call this the definitive moment of the podcast. And this is the portion of the podcast where my guest gets to talk about if they want to do a Korkash Fay experience. Now, the Korkash Fay experience is when they have a funny story to tell. If you go back to episode 1, we're now on episode 3. If you go back to episode 1, you can hear a prime example of what the Korkash Fay segment is about. It's really, if you have a really, really funny story about maybe a customer being confused or maybe pronouncing something, not the way it's supposed to be, not supposed to be. Like some people will come in and be like, can I please have a glass of Merlot? And if you don't, if you haven't been in the industry for a while, you might ask yourself, what is Merlot? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what the Korkash Fay is.
Pinot Grino.
Yeah,
You heard that one? Pinot Grino.
Pinot Grino. Yeah, there you go. Or the fillet.
The fillet.
And you're like, fillet, and you even had one time when this lady came in and she tried to order the fillet, and when it came out, she was mad because it wasn't fish fillet. So you have things like that. Yeah. So that's what the Korkash Fay is about. I like that one. The other one is the champion story. The champion story, I picked that because some people may not want to talk about funny stories. They may not necessarily be into that type of thing. And they want to focus more on how they give compelling service. So that's where the champion segment comes at. So right now, we're going to present my man Luis with a choice. So do you want to go for the
Korkash Fay?
Or do you want to go for the
Fantastic. I'm always a champion, son, my whole life. So we're gonna go with the Korkash Fay.
I'm gonna say all right late.
Korkash Fay one. I have this one that's just like it gets me every time. There's this word in Spanish, and it's Tocayo.
Okay.
And Tocayo means like same name. So if you was on the street and you saw somebody in his name, his name was Amadan, you can be like, oh, Tocayo, and be like, okay, that it just means same name. It's like something that you call somebody with your same name. It's a cool word.
Okay.
So one time I was at this table, and I went to go introduce myself, and I'm okay, good evening, my name's Luis, I'm gonna be your server today. I think I was a server assistant at this time. I forgot what it was.
Okay.
But I went over there. Yeah, I was a runner, actually. I was just kind of dropping food off.
Yeah, Luis, he does so many positions, he doesn't even remember what the position was.
I'm getting so old, son. I don't remember anything. So
35.
Because it was Alberto's table. So I went over there, and I just introduced myself. And the guy goes, oh, Tocayo. And I've heard that word before, but like my Spanish is not where it should be.
Right.
So I don't know what happened. I just go, oh, Tachiquin, which Tachiquin is my last name.
Right.
And
awesome last name.
The dude just looks at me, and like the whole table just looks at me, and I'm like, damn, like I don't think he told me his last name. I thought he was telling me his last name. So I was like, oh, okay, like let me tell him my last name.
Right.
It just it was so awkward, and like it just like completely stopped, and I was like, all right, like he probably didn't tell me his last name. I don't know why I even thought he was just randomly saying his last name. So I walked away, went to the back, and I was kind of like just thinking about it. Alberto was standing right there. I think he was standing with our boy Vic. Alberto's a server there.
The Korkash Fay.
And he goes, and I was like, yo, this table was looking at me so weird. Like he said this word. I was like, I don't know what it means, but I just said my last name, and Alberto I'll never forget that laugh. He started dying laughing, and he was like, Tocayo. He's like, that's like, it means like same name. So he was just saying like, you guys had the same first name. And I was like, man, I didn't go to the table again. I told Alberto, I was like, I'm not going to the table anymore. Like you can go over there. That was definitely I love that story. Tocayo.
This is the 5-word challenge. I actually don't have anything set up for the 5-word challenge, but I'm just gonna randomly pick something.
I had one for you actually.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can go first, and then I'm
okay.
do one for you.
Okay, so let me just really briefly explain why we do the
there you
the fur word challenge. The 5 word challenge. The reason why I like to do the 5 word challenge, because somewhere in my twisted brain, I feel like it gives you, depending on what level of intelligence, I don't even want to say intelligence, just depending on where you're at in life, I feel like the 5 word challenge kind of gives you some insight on how the person's brain kind of works in some aspects. It gives you a little bit more insight. Like for me, I don't know. But so we're gonna start off with the 5 word challenge. So my first word is chance.
Opportunity.
All right. My second word is gonna be awesome.
Lefty.
Finish.
Done. Shout out. That was done.
All 3 of y'all.
All
You
three.
finish or you done? All right. Rush.
Call of Duty.
Got you. Burnt.
Amadon.
All right. Hit me. Go ahead.
All right. So since it's one word, I got to abbreviate this one, but it's I am. So you do.
Okay.
I'm.
Amazing.
Good. Sofa.
Relax.
King.
God.
Rock.
I know this is more than one word, but hard place.
That's a good one because the next one is hard.
Conquer.
Good job.
All right.
Okay. I'm sofa, king, rock, hard. That's good.
Not even close. So, as you know, I always like to close the podcast out with some words of wisdom or quote of wisdom or words of wisdom. Something that it doesn't necessarily have to be something that relates to the restaurant industry, but something that relates to just being more positive and being a better person at whatever it is you do. Better at being you, better at, being better to other people, just things like that. So I'm gonna ask my guest Lefty if there's any wise words of wisdom or any quotes that he might want to give give this week.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff in the restaurant kind of that I bring to the restaurant, I bring that to like my life, my day to day. And I think you can't, like you said, you really can't nail it on the head enough.
Pause.
Being genuine. Resume. Being genuine. Being a genuine person, and just don't fake it for anybody. Just be yourself. Always bring yourself forward. At the end of the day, you are gonna go home. You're gonna lay in bed or lay on the floor, lay on the couch, whatever your situation is, and you're gonna sit there with yourself. So if you can't be yourself, man, just like you got to bring that forward. Always be yourself. Be genuine in life. Yeah, that's my favorite thing, bro. Just be as good as you can be, as much as you can be.
Okay. This week, I don't know, man. I had to think of it. I had to think of this one, in a way I'm still thinking about what it is that I want to say. But I think that, it's important to realize that things can change in the matter of a heartbeat. Like something tragic, God forbid, something tragic can happen to your family, something can happen to you. You know what I'm saying? So be grateful for sometimes just even the things you don't have. Because a lot of times, we want these things, and we don't get it, and then we get upset. And then sometimes we get them and we be like, yo, I didn't really even want that. You know what I'm saying? So be grateful for the things that you do have and be grateful for the things that you don't have. And remember, life is not promised to no man. So take advantage of this life while you have it and try to live your best life, you know. Try not to be so negative, you know. Like I know some people, they walk around, they negative about everything. Like, you know, they're like, oh, wow, this what's gonna go wrong next. And, you know, they're always they don't even breathe properly. Like you'll probably even notice you'll be around somebody and you don't even have to know what they thinking. You could just once they go like this,
Feel it.
yeah, they're not even controlling their breathing. Like if you a master of controlling your breathing, then you would just when a situation is stressing you out, a real master goes like this. It controls the breathing. The master controls the breathing. You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting the breathing control them. And when you do that under times of stress, any time of stress, and also with the right frame of mind, those things will set you far apart from the people that are always being negative, and it'll propel you into a more positive state. It takes time and practice, so don't be afraid to practice your breathing. So practice your breathing. Control your breath. Don't let your breath control you. Anyway, this concludes episode 3 of the Mad Hatter Platter. I'd like to thank my guest, Luis. How you say your last name?
Tocayo.
Tocayo.
Tachiquin.
There you go. I'd like to thank him for coming on the show this week.
Thank you for having me.
And as always, I wish you wealth. I wish you health. I wish you insight so you can see for yourself. Peace.